Thank you. It is 5:03 p.m. and the chair calls this meeting to order. Before we do the Pledge of Allegiance, I just want to make sure and take roll call. So I'll start with Trustee Sullivan,
Present.
Trustee Broussard,
Present.
Trustee Murillo,
Present.
Trustee Kane,
Present.
Trustee Pierce,
Here.
Trustee Vogt,
Present.
and Trustee Wilson.
Here.
So,
And I'm here.
and Trustee, yes, Stoma is here, and myself here. Full house. If you can join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dr. Head, has the proper posting been certified?
Yes, I certify it's been posted in accordance with the law.
Thank you. Our next item is the administration of the oath of office for trustees District 5, 6, and 7. So who's gonna go first? Trustee Vogt, would you go first for the administration, please?
Yes, a trustee for District 7 was sworn in at a prior ceremony.
Okay.
Just repeat after me. I, David A. Vogt,
I
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office
the duties
of trustee Lone Star College System, trustee Lone Star College of the state of Texas,
State of Texas,
and will to the best of my ability
and will to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States,
and of this state,
of this state.
so help me God. This is you swearing. I, Miriam Saldivar, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of trustee Lone Star College System of the state of Texas, and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state, so help me God. Yay.
Thank you. So let's welcome Trustee Broussard. I know that she was sworn in a couple of days ago, correct? And she represents District 7, I believe. Ma'am, you have the floor. If you want to say anything, to your constituents, to Lone Star College staff.
Thank you. I'll sit back down then. Although I talk very loud, you could have heard me without this. That's my teacher voice. Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here and to be a part of Lone Star College. I'm thrilled. You have welcomed me. Many of you have walked up to me and welcomed me, and I do feel very blessed. One of you even said, I told people to vote for you. So thank you. This is an exciting time. Education is wonderful. Education is power, and you know that as well as I do. So thank you. I appreciate you, and I look forward to helping serve and being a part of Lone Star and being a part of District 7. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. We look forward to working with you. Thank you. Our next item is the presentation, the reorganization of the board. And I believe there's going to be a presentation. Is that correct? Yes. Yes. Okay. May we have the presentation?
Good evening. There should be a PowerPoint, so I'm waiting on the PowerPoint.
So this is a PowerPoint about
There we
the
go.
actual process we're getting ready to go through for the board reorganization, just to make sure everybody's on the same page.
Yes, so I'm here to try my best to ensure that we're all on the same page. So with the last election, we had a change in the process. The Board of Trustees changed the process by which it reorganizes its officers. And so just wanted to give a very sort of brief highlight of what the process should look like. So we'll just go ahead and get started. So this is just really briefly what we're going to go over, where the authority comes from, what the requirements are, what the officer nominations are, what the voting process should look like, and then becoming an elected officer. And this is supplemental material to a packet that all of the trustees received leading up to today's election. And so again, just what kind of legal presentation would it be if there was no disclaimer? So, one of the things that we work really hard in the Office of the General Counsel to share is that we try to be very respectful of the board's prerogatives. And so we want to make it very clear that the reason we are giving this presentation is at the request of several trustees. We don't just inject ourselves in what we believe to be part of trustee prerogatives. And so here's the authority overview. There's state legal requirements, there's board policy requirements, and there's parliamentary procedures, Robert's Rules of Order. And so those are the three things that essentially are operating in tandem. If we do everything the best way, all three of those things will be satisfied. And so here are the four positions that are up for election as a function of board policy. There's a chair, there's a vice chair, there's a secretary, and there's an assistant secretary, along with sort of the duties that are attendant to each of those officer positions. And then what is required? So the minimum legal requirements are we have to elect officers, or the board has to elect officers. The officer elections must take place at the meeting immediately following a regular election in even numbered years, which is spoiler alert tonight. And at least 5 affirmative votes are required for a motion to pass. In other words, 5 votes are required to make any nominee the elected officer. And so here's really the process where I want to spend the most amount of time on. Starting 2 years ago, there are many ways under Robert's Rules of Order that board officers can be elected. This Board of Trustees has elected to use what is called the open floor nominations. And so under board policy, nominations must come from the floor and they must be open floor. In other words, you have to be at the meeting. There's no proxy votes allowed. You can't send someone in your stead. And so there has to be open floor nominations. Trustees vocally nominate candidates on a first recognized basis. Candidates are voted on in the order nominated, and then there's only one nominee for a position. The chair can declare the nominee elected by unanimous consent. So again, if there's only one nominee, then that person, the chair may declare them to be the nominee elected by unanimous consent. The chart is over on the right, and just as a heads up, if there were to be a change, for example, in the chair position, as soon as the person gets the 5 votes, they are imbued with that office. So literally, if there's a different chair from Chair Saldivar after this election, then that person literally takes the chair before even the vice chair nominations begin.
And so what are you allowed to vote? What are your options? Under Robert's rules, you can vote A, nay, abstain, or present. They mean the same thing in this context, or pass. So pass is kind of the one that people are not very familiar with. So let me just spend a couple seconds with that. So pass means if you get called on, because as number 2 says up there, it's an alphabetical roll call. And so spoiler alert, Trustee Broussard, you will go first, right? And so if we get to Trustee Broussard can vote any of those 4 things, or she can pass until the roll is completed all the way down to either Trustee Wilson or Trustee Saldivar or Chair Saldivar if the chair would make an outcome, if it changes the outcome, the chair votes. If by the time it would get to Chair Saldivar, it's not going to make a difference, and the chair usually refrains from voting. That is when roll call is deemed complete, and then you would have to come back to the people that passed, and you're only allowed to pass essentially 1 time. And so that way, at most, we go through the entire roll call twice, and whoever gets to 5 is declared a candidate. And we did really look into this question because I know in the past, there's been some questions from trustees about if I want to get my vote on the record, even if it's not going to have a consequence, what's the rule for that? And so the recommendation from the Office of the General Counsel is that even if it's not going to make a difference, if someone has passed, our recommendation is that you go back to that person and say, notwithstanding that it's not going to have an effect on the outcome, because it's a roll call, we want to make sure that we get a record of your vote into the record. And so those are essentially the very sort of high level situations that could happen, the 4 votes. Again, first person to 5 wins. If a position only has 1 nominee, that person is declared the unanimous winner. Again, 5 votes. And the reason we're stressing that is because there was some confusion. Some trustees have communicated to us that there was a confusion 2 years ago about how many votes were needed. We need 5, regardless of who's here, regardless of how many people are on the board. As a matter of state policy and board policy, state law and board policy, we need 5. And again, as I've mentioned several times now, elected officers take office immediately. So that's it. Does anyone have any questions about the process before I yield the floor back to the chair and we begin this process?
All right, thank you, Mario, so
Yes,
much.
thank you.
All right, so now the next item is the reorganization of the board. And there's a couple of things that I have to say to make sure and say this correctly. So the board will now consider agenda item 1, the reorganization of the Board of Trustees. It is required by the board policy and state law that the board reorganize after each election. The process is as follows. I, as presiding chair, will open the floor for nominations for chair. Trustees will then make their nominations. When a trustee is making a nomination, I'm asking that the trustees state their name and then the name of the person that they are nominating. Once there are no more nominations, I will announce that nominations are closed. Once nominations are closed, I will call for a roll call vote on the first person nominated. During the roll call vote, I will call each trustee by name in alphabetical order, with the chair voting last. And I ask if their vote is A or nay for the nominee. A trustee may also choose to abstain from voting by stating present or abstain. If a trustee is not ready to vote, they can pass, and I will come back to them after the roll has been completed. If the nominee being voted on receives 5 votes, they will become chair. If that nominee does not receive 5 votes, then the trustees will vote on the next nominee and so on. Once the chair has been elected, I will ask for nominations for vice chair and follow the same process for the elections of vice chair, secretary, and assistant secretary. Are there any questions? So now we'll call the floor is now open for chair nominations.
Trustee Saldivar,
Yes.
I would like to nominate Mike Stoma, position of chair, please.
Okay,
Art Rio.
thank you, trustee Murillo. Do I have any other nominations? Hearing none, There's only one nominee. So as chair, I nominate for the position. As chair, I declare that nominee elected by unanimous consent. Thank you.
Thank
I leave this.
First of all, I want to thank my colleagues here for their vote of confidence. I want to say to you that I will strive to be a servant leader. And as such, my door is always open to each of you at any time, reasonable time. If you call me at 2 a.m. may be an issue, but I'll return your call as soon as possible. Point is you're welcome to reach out to me about any item or issue at any time. I certainly will look for opportunities for us to collaborate as a team, and we shall govern as a team. I'd also like to thank Trustee Saldivar for her service as being chair for the last 2 years. It's been a difficult period with all the COVID and the changes and all. You stood strong in your position and in leadership on this board, and I for one appreciate your service. And I also want to say I want to congratulate you on your reelection, because that truly was a big deal. Big accomplishment, and to run a campaign against someone and win, especially for the first time, is a huge deal. And you to be congratulated on that. And you have 6 more years to serve here on this board. And I just bet, if I was a betting man, and I am a betting man, you'll be back in this chair before that time's up. And you will be welcome. Okay. So with that, I guess we will proceed with the order of business. Yeah, go ahead. I'll let you help me. I don't do too much for myself as it is. Anyway, so we'll open the floor for vice chair nominations. Please remember to state your name and then the person's name you are nominating. So the floor is open. And I would like to nominate Art Murillo, Trustee Art Murillo for vice chair. Any other nominations? I hear no other nominations. Then I'll close the nominations and declare by our rules, Trustee Art Murillo as vice chairman of the board. Congratulations, Art. Thank you, Chair. Yeah, good man. I'll now open the floor for nominations for board secretary. Any nominations for?
Trustee Stoma, am I allowed to make a nomination? I'd like to nominate Trustee Sullivan to the position of secretary.
Okay, we have a nomination for Trustee Sullivan as board secretary. Any other nominations? Hearing no other nominations, then I close the nominations and declare Trustee Sullivan as our new board secretary. Congratulations, Trustee Sullivan. Welcome to the team. I'll now open nominations for assistant secretary, board assistant secretary. Are there any nominations for board secretary, assistant secretary? Well, I have one. I nominate Trustee Kane as assistant secretary to the board. Any other board nominations? Hearing no other board nominations, then I'll close the nomination process and declare by our rules, Trustee Kane as our assistant secretary. Thank you, sir. Thank you. And with that, I guess we're done with the reorganization. Okay, so the next agenda item, we're not having a closed section. Public comment. Are there any public comments?
Yes, sir. We do have one, Dr. John Bergdorf.
Dr. Bergdorf, please come.
Good evening. There we go. Thank you. I have the administration has graciously allowed me to share a PowerPoint with you, so I'm very grateful for that. Good evening. I am Dr. John Bergduff, President of the Lone Star College Local of the American Federation of Teachers. I want to begin this evening by offering a warm welcome on behalf of our union to the newest member of the Board of Trustees, Rebecca Broussard, and congratulations to Miriam Saldivar and David Vogt on your re-elections, and also congratulations to all the new board officers. We in the AFT greatly appreciate all of your service to our college. As we periodically do, this fall, our union conducted a survey of all Lone Star College employees to ascertain the greatest needs for which we need to advocate. Tonight, I would like to share with you a preliminary report on our findings. Because time is limited, I shall have to go fast, but you will have our slides to look at with greater care. May I have the next slide, please? Thank you. I'm very excited to report that we got 1,148 responses, representing approximately 1 out of every 6 Lone Star employees. We received broad participation from all major employee groups: full-time faculty, full-time staff, administrators, adjunct faculty, and adjunct staff. We asked a series of multiple choice questions to each employee group, and tonight I'm going to focus on the answers to those questions. We also asked for free response comments on more open-ended questions, which I will present at the February meeting. May I have the next slide, please? The different colored lines display the answers by employee group to the question, how comfortable are you returning to full work week on campus at this stage of the COVID pandemic? Options 0, 1, and 2 refer to employees who are leaving the college, adjunct faculty who are still working completely online, and employees who had no opinion. Reading left to right, options 3 through 6 indicate increasing comfort levels with working on campus. Lines rising sharply from left to right is a good thing. They indicate that by far the largest number of employees feel very comfortable working face-to-face. However, full-time staff trail other employee groups by over 10 percentage points in reporting high comfort levels working on-site. Across all employee groups, there is still a significant 15% of employees that report that they are either somewhat or very uncomfortable working on campus. May I have the next slide, please? Our next several slides focus on the theme of respect between different employee groups. In these slides, lines rising from left to right is what you want to see, indicating larger percentages of employees reporting strong agreement. This slide indicates that most employees feel respected by their supervisors. Adjunct faculty and part-time staff report incredibly high levels of perceived respect. Administrators come in next, and full-time faculty and staff come in with the lowest percentage of employees reporting that they feel respected by their supervisors. May I have the next slide, please? This slide reports employees' perception of whether faculty are treated with respect by staff. The sharp rise in the lines as you read towards the right is very good news. May I have the next slide? Over 80% of employees in all groups report that staff are mostly or absolutely treated with respect by faculty. The drop-off in the lines to the right indicate that there is room for improvement on the part of those of us on the faculty. May I have the next slide? On the question of whether faculty are treated with respect by college and system administrators, there is a marked difference in perception between administrators represented by the red line and full-time faculty represented by the gray line. Let me have the next slide. Although these lines trend together a little better, there is still a difference of perception between administrators and full-time employees on the issue of whether staff are treated with respect by administrators. May I have the next slide? Different from respect, we also asked employees whether they feel that employees in other groups understand the responsibilities and workload that they deal with. The gray line here representing full-time staff is higher than the others on the left and lower than the others on the right, indicating that a greater percentage of full-time staff feel that others do not understand the duties and challenges they face. Together with responses from our other slides, our initial takeaway is that if there is a group of employees that is more in need of greater care and concern, that group would be our full-time staff. And may I have the last slide, please? We are still carefully reading through the literally thousands of free response comments we received. We will report back at the next board meeting in February. As a teaser, however, I can note that there are two themes jumping off the page from those comments. First, there is strong interest among all employee groups in flexible work options, including partial or complete work from home. Second, many comments indicate that employees are feeling overworked and stressed because of unusually high levels of unfilled positions in some departments. These concerns warrant attention, and I'll have more information ready for you in February. Thank you so much for your kind attention.
Thank you. Are there any introductions, special guests?
Yes, we have, I'd like to introduce Cassandra Jenkins from Community Impact. Cassandra. Thank you. Welcome. And Jennifer, do you want to introduce Lowell? Okay. We don't have a workshop. There's no workshop. We're next month.
Good evening, trustees. Thank you. I would like to introduce tonight Lowell Ballard. He comes to us from Campus Works. Lone Star College has contracted with the consulting firm Campus Works. They, under that scope of work, they are providing an IT assessment of our group here. Those results will be available in the late winter, early spring, perhaps around February or so. In addition to that assessment, Campus Works has also given us Lowell Ballard here to serve as acting CIO for Lone Star College for a 12-month period. So I do want to introduce him. Lowell has had a 30-year career in IT, holding positions of CIO at the UT Permian Basin and Director of IT at Northern Virginia Community College, which is one of our peer institutions. He has also conducted an implementation of Oracle PeopleSoft. His education includes a Master of Science in Information Systems from George Mason University, a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering from Virginia Tech, and he holds multiple management and IT certifications, including Chief Information Security Officer. Now, he is not an employee of Lone Star College, but is serving as a consultant, helping out in this role. And I definitely personally greatly appreciate his assistance for this 12-month period. And I would like him to just say hello and introduce himself.
Thank you, Jennifer and trustees. Over the last 2 months, I've had the opportunity to meet with each one of the campuses and the leadership there, as well as all the divisions and departments. And I could say I've been impressed about the graciousness and professionalism of the people I've met. So I'm really looking forward to finishing up the analysis phase and then helping IT work with the college leadership to move to the next level. So I'm thankful for being able to help out. Thank you.
Thank you, Lou.
All right, thanks. We have approval of the minutes, approval of the minutes of the November 1st, 2022 workshop and regular meeting and minutes of the November 2022 special meeting. Do I have a motion for approval?
Chair, before we do that, could I ask if, are we not doing 10?
No, we're going to do that next month or in February.
Okay. Is there anything else on the agenda we're not going to do?
Well, the faculty senate is not reporting tonight. So
Trustee Sullivan, I apologize. Jennifer had mentioned you would like to make a statement, I believe.
No.
Or is that, we're going to do that
after she finishes.
Okay, we'll do that later. Is that okay?
This is separate than that because sometimes we have closed sessions, sometimes we don't, but to just have not to mention, we're not going to do an item.
Okay. So the next would be I'm sorry.
Thanks.
The next would be the approval for the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes? Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Then that passes. The approval of minutes passes. Special reports, announcements.
So just a couple of quick updates. So our enrollments are, we're up right now 3.5%. And we still have 30 days or so before we start the spring semester. And that's good. The numbers have been, we'll see. We'll see what happens during the break. So the second piece I wanted to mention to you, we completed our, we have mandatory employee training that we require from all employees. So we had about 6,900, every one of our full-time employees completed the training. If you don't complete the training, you don't work here anymore. So all the employees, all the full-time employees completed it. So we had 2,700 or so full-time employees, and then about 41 or 42, something like that, part-time employees. I was really pleased with that, especially with the full-time employees. So, and for the board members for the new, for Trustee Broussard, we'd be glad to share you what we do, but we have mandatory training it's online. You have several months to complete it. It's not complicated, but it's, Mario, is it accurate right now on lawsuits? 0. We have no lawsuits and we have no grievances right now, which is remarkable for an organization our size. So we think the training has paid off. So.
Any other special reports or announcements from trustees? Trustee King?
I was pleased to attend 2 very, very nice events recently. University Park, Dr. Ardalan celebrated 10 years, had a very, very nice event there at University Park, and also was pleased to attend the 50-year celebration for Lone Star College. It's remarkable to look back over the 50 years and I think about all the things that have happened. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think one of the items that was mentioned was that during those 50 years, over 2 million students have taken courses at one time or another.
That's correct.
That's a remarkable statistic. But it's a great history that Lone Star has, and the present and the future are extremely bright.
Absolutely. Thank you. Any other reports from trustees? Trustee Salazar?
Thank you, Chair Stoma. Just want to say thank you very much. I know a lot of you know that I was reelected for this position. I want to thank everybody who, voted, especially the AFT. Thank you so much for your support. The constituents of District 6, elected officials from District 6, faith leaders, and the Lone Star College staff and family members that lived in District 6. So I am very proud and very happy to obtain their support. I'm very humbled, it really is. And I'm happy to be back. And so thank you, the support of all my colleagues as well. And I just want to say I'm very happy to be back and willing to serve Lone Star College and obviously the residents of District 6. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Any other comments from board members?
What you doing?
Trustee Sullivan?
Thank you. You bet. And thank you for making the comment about the elections, Trustee.
You're not getting no more. Go sit down.
They're online.
Trustee Wilson, would you please put on mute, please? Okay, good. Thank you. Go ahead, Trustee Sullivan.
Thank you, Chair. Lost my train of thought. The elections. I'm glad that you were reelected. Congratulations. The only person who had an opponent on the ballot, and you did well. And I'd like to say thank you to Mario and his team and outside counsel on the redistricting, because we had no problems. And I don't think we ought to gloss over that. That was an arduous task that we undertook as a system, a lot of interaction with the public. It just went well, not because of me, but it went well. And we had no complaints, nothing that I've heard of. And Mario, I assume you didn't hear anything either. So people are happy and they're casting their votes and the system's working. So I think that says a lot.
Thank you. Any other comments? From board members, any other comments? All right, then we'll move on to the consent agenda items. Are there any items that we need to pull for discussion before we vote on the others? None? Boy, it's a Christmas present now.
First meeting.
It's first meeting. Hey, thank you. Then I call for nomination to approve the consent agenda items.
So moved.
Oh, I guess I need to name them.
Oh.
Yeah, you have to forgive me for my learning curve. 2 through 15, approve nomination to approve items 2 through 15. Motion to approve items 2 through 15.
I moved it and then second.
Yeah, there was a motion.
Okay, motion has been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Those pass. Thank you. Thank you very much. Guess it brings us to the financial report.
So Jennifer is going to review the annual comprehensive financial report.
No.
So just a reminder to the board, we did not have this for approval, but this is required by the state. We're required to submit this by December 31st of this current year. So you should have received a copy of this, either on email or the hard copy. And if you don't have the hard copy, we'd be glad to give you one. But that's the extensive end of the year report that we prepare. So Jennifer, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Good evening. Yes, I have sent out to all of the trustees a lot of reading materials, so you have plenty to keep you busy over the holiday break. First, you should have received the final budget report. This was approved by the board in August. But at that time, we give everyone, it's a proposed budget report. So what you have now received is the final budget report that was approved by this board. You would have also received, this is a draft of the annual comprehensive report, and that is what I'm going to be giving some key highlights to in just a moment. Along with that, this is the report from Weaver, which is our external auditor, Greg Peterson from Weaver. He is here tonight. So you received all of these materials ahead of time as well. I did also the annual comprehensive financial report, presented it to the audit and finance committee a week ago. So to give you just some key highlights of the annual financial report, first, the process of how it gets put together. The financial report itself, so this is for fiscal year 2022, which was September 1, 2022 through August 30, 2021, my apologies. September 1, 2021 through August 31st, 2022. That's the year that this report is for. It is Lone Star College, primarily the accounting team, Valerie Cott and her team, and a lot of others throughout the entire college put a lot of work into putting this financial report together, following GASB rules, which is governmental accounting standards. So we put it together, and then Weaver, as our external auditors, they come in to review our work, and they issue their own independent opinion, and that's what this separate report is. And so in their opinion, they have, I am proud to say, issued a clean, unmodified opinion. So what they are saying is that you can rely upon the financial figures presented in the report as being representative of our financial figures. Now, that external audit report does not actually say anything about whether those financials are strong, weak, good, bad, or any of that. It just says that to the best of their ability, they are able to say that they are accurate. So that is how it works, putting the report together. So from there, and I do also want to mention, each time that they give, the external auditors give a report, they do also let us know if they did have any findings. Over the past few years, each year we have had some findings. Back in 2018 was a high point of 7, or a low point of 7 audit findings. In 2019, we had 3. In 2020, we had 1 audit finding. In 2021, we had, again, 1 audit finding. For 2022, right now, we have 0. audit findings. So again, I'm very proud for the work that we have done because each time that we have findings, we have to spend the next year making adjustments to our processes to eliminate that finding. So with that, like I said, I do want to give some of the key highlights of what does the financial report itself say. So the three things I want to cover is any financial report has three primary reports: the net position, also known as the balance sheet, the income statement, which is also called revenues and expenses in the report, and then there is the cash flow statement or a cash position as well. Also want to mention how we are required to report our financials is we are a special purpose government engaged in business type activities. There's a couple slides I'll show you where this aspect becomes important. So the outcome of our financials. Here, first I have, so green at the beginning and the end is the balance sheet. The balance sheet is always just a snapshot at a single point in time, and it is the income statement that reports on activities during that intervening period. So for our net position, which is everything, it's assets minus liabilities equals our net position. So this is our assets is our cash, our buildings, accounts receivable, liabilities includes all of our debt outstanding. So this net position is the most all-encompassing financial number there is for Lone Star College. So on August 31st, 2021, we started this fiscal year out at $254 million in our net position. The income statement, which is the activity that occurred throughout the year, had a net income of positive $43 million, which adds to our net position. So we ended the year at $297 million. So this is positive to know here that, and if you look at the history on the right there, you can see with the exception of 2018, each year since 2015, we have each time improved our net position.
Can you tell them why there's a red number there for 2018?
Right, and I do want to mention that the red number, it is still a positive number. The reason is red because that is the one year in this history where our net position declined. The green years being where it increased from one year to the next. So really both in 2015 and 2018, we had major new GASB rules, the Governmental Accounting Standards Board. In 2015 was the first year that we had to report our net pension liability on our balance sheet. So that certainly had a significant effect on our net position. And then again in 2018, another new GASB rule that we had to implement was to report the other post-employment benefits, also known as OPEB. These are long-term liabilities that Lone Star College has for really for its employees, for the pensions and the other post-employment benefits, which is things like medical care. So those 2 years, there are significant impacts on the balance sheet in those 2 years from the implementation of those new accounting rules. So I wanted to share some more about the income statement itself. This is where I mentioned how we are required to report becomes important, because here you will see operating revenues, operating expenses, and then there is an operating loss. All before, once you bring in non-operating revenues, does then result in a positive net income. The reason for this is as a governmental entity, but reporting as a business type activity is in the operating revenues and operating expenses. That is where we report as if we were a business. That means our property tax revenues and our state appropriations are not operating revenues. So in operating revenues, the primary revenue source is tuition and fees, what we charge our customers, in our case, our students. So that is what goes into operating revenues, and you see that was at $163 million. Now, to provide the education to those students is virtually all of our operating expenses. So that's where you see the $493 million in operating expenses. And then with that, of course, there is an operating loss. This is sort of by design, since we are a government entity. Yes, operating as a business type activity, but the intent is for the property taxes and state appropriations that shows up in non-operating revenues to help to allow us to provide the affordable education, quality affordable education that we do to students. So that $373 million in non-operating revenues is then what results in positive net income of $43 million. Next, I did want to give a snapshot on our cash, right? Then I said the net position is the most all-encompassing financial metric because it includes all assets, all liabilities. Of course, like I said, a lot of that is also in buildings and facilities that we can't go liquidate because we want to continue to use them. So cash is very important. Here, this is a much broader metric that I'm presenting here than our cash reserves that we often talk about separately when we're considering the budget. The cash reported here is literally all of our cash, unrestricted and restricted. The key item there that's not included in our cash reserves, for example, is the bond funds. When we have the 2014 voters approved 485 million worth of bonds for us to issue for construction projects. When we issue those bonds and get that cash in, that cash is included in these numbers. This also would include any restricted funds we have to pay debt service, also any restricted funds that we get from grant funds. So I do want to emphasize this is literally all of our cash and cash equivalents. So again, with the balance sheet being the snapshot in time, we started the year out at 310 million. We did have a net cash outflow of 40 million, ending the year at 270 million. Now the outflow to note, if you look at the history, this is a known pattern that we see with that bond issuance, because when we issue in 2015, it was 150 million in bonds. That meant we got 150 million worth of cash in. Again, in 2017, we issued another 150 million. And then in 2021, we issued the final series of 185 million. So when you look at the history, you can see in those 3 years, when we issue the bonds, you see the cash go up. In the intervening years, we then have to turn around and use that cash to pay for the construction projects. That is the restricted purpose of those funds. So in each intervening year, we do see consistently the net cash outflows as we spend down those bond funds on the construction project. And that trend has continued here as expected with the 40 million net cash outflow. That concludes my report, and I'm happy to take any questions about the report, either tonight right here or in the future. It is thick and it's a small font. I hope you read it over the holiday break and call me with questions.
Next
If
to my,
I could echo Chair Snowman, say maybe not at 2 o'clock in the morning. But I am happy to take any questions on the financial report at any time.
it's next to my Lee Child novel.
Hmm?
I keep it next to my Lee Child novel.
So for those of you in the audience that as faculty senate presidents, that's 142 pages long, which we'll send to you, by the way. I'll send that if we didn't already. You already have it? Good. Okay. Thank you.
Now, I think Trustee Sullivan, you have a statement in regards to the Audit Financial Committee as chair. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Would you like
Chair.
to do that? Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, not a statement, just a comment. And that's to acknowledge the hard work that you and your team did and to thank Weaver for their continued work. When we had our presentation from you and Weaver during the audit committee meeting, there was work in progress still because it, as you say, it's a snapshot in time, but the review encompasses a lot that you didn't have ready, and that's not bad. You're not there yet. But anyway, appreciate the hard work and reassuring us that you're taking care of the finances and the assets of the system, because frankly, I think one of our strengths is our financial condition, always has been, always will be. And with enrollment and with state funding, with property taxes and appraisals, there's so much that goes into this. And then not to lose sight of the fact of cost control. And if we don't control our costs, then we'll be upside down before we know it. So good work on everybody's part, and I appreciate what y'all do. And like to also thank Trustee Wilson for participating in the committee meeting last week. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your work. Anything else?
Could you introduce your staff that worked on this? I know there's a lot of work. I know she's standing up here talking, but I know who did the work back there. So would you let the board know who?
Yes, there is a lot of people, Valerie Cott in particular, Nissa Peterson helps, Letitia, who's not here, also helped.
You guys have to raise your hand a little bit so we know who you are.
Garcia, Tammy Cortez, Letty for internal audit, she certainly helps as well. Pat Sandoval, you do help. And there's many people who aren't here tonight, so a lot of work.
They
does
do an incredible amount of work.
So I opened the package at home that Desiree sent me, and I opened a package from Desiree, and I have all these, thank you, Presidents, Christmas cards and other cheery stuff, and then I see your reports. Thank you.
I'll put a bow on it next time.
There you go, next time,
Okay.
just put a bow.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay.
Financial report.
Any other
Yes.
comments?
So that was the annual financial report. Now I'm going to switch gears to my typical monthly financial report. This is now, that was last fiscal year. Now this is bringing us back to our current fiscal year, fiscal year 2023, right? So our current fiscal year started September 1, 2022, and will continue until August 31st, 2023. Again, seeing this process tonight, the report for this current fiscal year, you will get next December. But so for this, we are 2 months into this fiscal year for the reporting, which is still pretty early in terms of being able to see any trends for the year. On the revenue side, you can see that we are at 19.5% of our revenues that we have budgeted to receive for the year, and it's 83 million that we have received so far. Now, if you compare that to prior years, it is similar to last year, but lower than the 3 prior years. And I think a key similarity for this year and last year is that in both years, we budgeted assuming flat enrollment. And in both cases, we did have a decline in enrollment. Spring, as Dr. had mentioned, right now is up 3.5%, but the fall that was completed did have a small drop in enrollment. So I think that is where that is a similar trend to last year, is that so far the final numbers that have come in are showing an enrollment decline where we assumed no enrollment decline in the budget. On the expenses side, here we have, so far we have spent 59 million out of the approved budget, which is 14.5%. And again, you can see this trends lower than prior years, which indicates that we are on track to spend below what has been budgeted for. And see here, 2 months in, we do not really start doing forecasted variances yet. I mean, unless there is an event that we know of having an impact, but probably beginning February and then certainly March board meeting is when we will start showing in particular, the estimated impact of the enrollment numbers from the fall and then the spring. And with that, so we equally, again, this is early in the fiscal year. We do not have any forecasted variances for expenditures at this time. You also include in your packet is a building and grounds report, and that is the status of construction projects. If you have any particular interest in knowing where a particular project is at, please feel free to reach out to me. I am happy to let you know on the projects. Thank you very much, and that concludes my report.
Thank you.
I have a question. There was a question that came up at one of our previous meetings. Someone on the board, and I've forgotten who asked about it. And you had, it had to do with studies on flood protection, and you were going to check on something with the engineers.
I believe it was, yes, there was a desire to know more about the flood zones, and I believe it was maybe not last month, the month prior, that I gave a workshop presentation with the flood maps of all of our locations.
Mm-hmm.
And I can certainly provide that.
There was an engineer's report on studies and planning done in the areas where we have facilities and flood control, or that's what I understood the question was, is do we have any reports on that?
There was previously a report done at Kingwood, and we are working on a flood mitigation project there, and I can provide that.
No,
report.
I'm talking about other agencies making plans that would affect our facilities.
Are you talking about like flood control districts or like HCA?
Control
flood-
district, it would be a big one, yes, and I think there are a few others that are.
Okay, because I don't think we understood that. If that, I mean, what we prepared was based on the conversation we'd had was the map that showed where our current facilities were and where the flood plain had been changing and kind of where we were. So we had two issues. I can't remember. We can.
Yeah, the two high-risk locations was University Park and of course Kingwood.
Kingwood, yeah.
So I did not understand that as a question, but I certainly will make sure we go look at, see what we can have from other agencies, if there's any notification.
Okay.
Yes.
Chair, can I jump in, please, sir?
Yes.
Thank you.
Just-
I'm the one that asked the question.
That-
So
that's
let me tell
what
you
I
what the
thought,
question
yeah.
was. The question wasn't that. The question was, could you do a flood mitigation assessment for us when you have time? There was no time limit given. There was no expectation that it'd be done right away. Getting a copy of the Kingwood flood report, she did follow up and send that out to us. And we all received it because it was asked at that meeting that the full board get it.
Yes. But I understood that you had asked another question on a broader scope.
I just said what my question was. So
Okay, well,
now if you want to add to it, feel free. You can do that as a trustee, but I
well,
think y'all get it. I mean, I asked for what I wanted, which was just a flood mitigation assessment. That's all. And we received that. So I don't know. You want to
well,
have
then
your own
I'm
questions, go
asking,
ahead.
Okay.
I mean,
Yes,
Yeah.
we will go research what other, if I could repeat it back to make sure I have it, we will go research what other agencies may have plans for flood mitigation that could impact any of our locations.
right.
Okay.
and-
Jennifer, do you
And I,
think?
and
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna suggest, I can give you a list of agencies that we might contact, but
Okay, yes, I would appreciate that. Yeah,
Okay.
please.
And Jennifer, could you give us maybe an update on that in the next board meeting? Where that's at,
Yes,
if you would, please.
yes, I can.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other financial issues? Nothing on ground, building and grounds, eh?
It's in the back of their building and grounds report. It's in the back of the agenda.
Okay, fair enough. Then we come to suggested future agenda items. Do you have any suggested future agenda items? Any trustee? Go ahead.
We do have the diversity report coming up next in February.
Diversity report coming up in February.
Right.
Well, I have 3 items I want to add. Well, there are 3 discussion items I'd like to add to the February board meeting agenda. One is a discussion around what I'm calling board guiding principles. Second is what I'm calling the chairman's issue list. And a third, which I think may be covered under our committee discussions, but we're going to talk about committee assignments. And these are discussions. Now we'll have information prior to the February board meeting sent out to each of you with more explanation. But I want to make it clear, these would be discussion items. Anything else? All righty.
Chairman, Stroma, the board retreat is still scheduled for February?
February, do you have the dates, Chancellor?
February the 24th, right? And we'll send you detail of that probably right after the first of the year. We'll send you a reminder for February the 24th, and then we'll send you all the details after that, after the first of the year.
And I mentioned it because that gives us an opportunity to go over priorities or,
Absolutely.
the board and all that. Thank you.
Any other discussion points? No other discussion points. I'm going to wish everybody a happy holiday and a happy new year and call this meeting adjourned. Thank you.